Um, and the reason I don't see Punk winning this is because he's involved in that other storyline. It doesn't seem like, the Triple H storyline revolves around Cena at all. Granted, in my Survivor Series video that I booked, up until then, I had Cena turn heel so that the story could be around him. And it drug him to the middle of it so that Punk had somebody else to feud with besides Triple H. But ultimately, the way that they've half-assed around and Triple H isn't a heel, he's, tries to still be over the crowd, and how he's punching Nash in the face, and how everything has just gone down. I mean, it's like, why? You just kind of look at it, and I'm confused as a fan. I don't understand why they're doing it. And now they've got this whole backstage segment where you've got a couple of the mid card guys. You got Vicky Guerrero, and you've got David Otunga sitting around talking to John Laurinaitis. And then at the end of each fucking segment, you see this shit. And who cares? Who are you texting? Does it matter? This is a guy that shouldn't be on camera right now. They've got a whole show that they could develop younger talent on, and they're wasting it with this shit. It's like, what is the point? Okay, so I kind of got off topic a little bit, but to get back on topic, we're going to talk about the Hell in a Cell outcomes, and I really needed to get that stuff off of my chest first, though. Like, I know so many people around here that feel the same way, and I know a lot of people that stopped watching the product just because it was the same old shit. Like, I remember being a fan, back in 97 and 98 and even 99, and things were going pretty good back then, and you had competition between WWF and WCW. You had a choice. You watch one, the other, you watch both. If you DVR it, or at the time just tape it. And now you don't have that. There's no head-to-head competition. There's nothing that says that WWE has to up their game, because technically they're the only game in town, and that's just appalling to me. So, without further hesitation, let's talk about the Hell in a Cell and what we believe here in my basement is going to happen. Do you have an opinion over there? No. Okay. My dog does not have an opinion. Oh, and about these earphones is the only way that I can block out the noise from the rest of the house, so forgive me. There's probably going to be a tag team title match between Swagger and Dolph Ziggler and Air Boom, the reigning champions. If they take the belts off of Air Boom, it would really be detrimental to the tag team division being stimulated, because Swagger and Dolph are not a team, and they've got no place winning the belt when Ziggler still retains the U.S. title. It's just them not having anybody else to work into the picture, and I think that they could have really done a lot better job, even in 2 weeks, of introducing a new team. Or they could have not had the Usos job out to Air Boom to SmackDown right after Night of Champions. They could have had them get a victory that would have at least put them in the title picture for this filler. And that's all that this is filler. Hell in a Cell, by no means, is going to be a standalone pay-per-view. It's not going to have rave reviews. Don't get excited about it. I mean, you can call it turd by any other name, but it's really going to smell just as bad if you step in it and track it all through your house. So, sorry for the major downer kind of, vantage point going into this, and that my point of view kind of sucks on it, but, I mean, I'm just fed up, and there's only a certain amount of bullshit that you can continue to take all the time. Let's talk about Sin Cara versus Sin Cara. They really destroyed this storyline. And, the Mr. Out offered a really good question earlier in his video about where's Daniel Bryan? Wasn't he jobbing out to Sin Cara for like the last 3 weeks? Realistically, what Daniel Bryan needed to do was like turn heel and get involved in this feud somehow, and just beat the shit out of both of them and prove that he was, worthy to be the Money in the Bank champion. Instead, he's not in the pay-per-view, but you've got two of the same guy going at it in the middle of the ring, and it really doesn't matter who wins. Is it Black Mask? Is it Blue Mask? Who gives a fuck at this point? Granted, it should be a good match. Both of them are good workers, but, I mean, you're taking a storyline that really has zero following. It's not going to generate enough interest just to buy the pay-per-view on its own. It doesn't really add up to anything greater in the end. You know, it's just a match where something is going to go. You know, you're going to have a winner, and then they're probably just going to continue it at Vengeance anyway. So what was the point? They could have just built this up, not even had this pay-per-view, and let the feud, you know, culminate at Vengeance. But whatever. I think that Sin Cara is going to win this match, and prove me wrong on that one. And if you don't know which Sin Cara I'm talking about, oh well, because I don't know which one I'm talking about at this point. Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? Does it really make a difference? No. In the scheme of things, Cody Rhodes is still your Intercontinental Champion, but he's not appearing in this film for some reason, and that's kind of bizarre to me. You know, he should definitely have a spot. He should definitely be given a match for that Intercontinental title. You know, you've got Hell in a Cell, where you can still have, after Night of Champions, you defended all the belts, but now the U.S. title and the Intercontinental title aren't even going to appear on your pay-per-view. It just really, it degrades the quality of your belts. It degrades the quality of your mid-card champs. And it really doesn't allow you to focus, you know, and have anybody else on your program. Like, where's Drew McIntyre? Why can't he have a match? Why can't he be involved in the tag thing? And Dolph Ziggler has a different opponent. How come Swagger and Ziggler didn't get into it, you know, over Swagger trying to get in with Vicky again for the past 3-4 weeks? Maybe longer than that. I have a hard time keeping track of this stuff because it's really just not even interesting anymore. I think that Swagger and Ziggler should be feuding for that U.S. title. I think that the title needs to get off of Ziggler. I think that Ziggler needs to get away from Vicky Guerrero. He needs to start being his own man, his own character. I really think that they dropped the ball with this guy. You know, he went from being on SmackDown, you know, being against Edge in the main event. You know, even though his title reign didn't really count, he still won the world title. So this guy could have been a main event status kind of guy, and instead we ended up with this lame-ass stagnant run as a U.S. champion on Raw. You know, it took him cutting his hair, it took him dyeing his hair, it took him dyeing his hair back, it took Vicky Guerrero, you know, constantly as a mouthpiece for him to come out and draw heat. This guy needs to turn face. You need to do something else with him. I don't want to pay for a pay-per-view where he's going to be featured. I really don't. I don't have confidence in it. I like Dolph Ziggler. I really like the whole perfection gimmick. You know, I think that he could be like a model Rick Martel, arrogant heel kind of guy, even like a Mr. Perfect. I mean, nobody's ever going to be Kurt Hennig, but, you know, this guy could definitely go his own. He has some charisma. I think if you give him a face run, maybe it'll get some fans behind him. And a good way to do that would be to feud him with Swagger, you know. You have an internal conflict and push him away from Vicky Guerrero so that he can do his own interviews, so that he can be his own man, so he's not just associated with her anymore. You know, they were dating, and they were just business clients together. Who gives a shit? Get him out of the mid-card hell that he's in. Have him drop that title to somebody and move on with this guy. You know, he could definitely work in the ring. He's strong in the ring. I've seen him go. I think he's better than Swagger in the ring, to be honest. You know, give him a shot. Christ, it's not like the main event scene doesn't need some new faces anyway. And I don't mean good guys. I just mean, like, different people. So, anyway, that's my rant about that. I think that in terms of the women's match, it really doesn't matter who wins because the division is just booked like shit to begin with. You know, I would really like to see them do a storyline with the Divas where, you know, you have a face that you can get behind that has to overcome a heel that can actually wrestle. And I think that if you give Beth Phoenix the title, that she can run with it for a little while and at least try to, you know, just elevate the fact that you're not giving it to your next Barbie doll competitor. You're actually trying. I remember, you know, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away when we used to have a women's champ that could wrestle. You know, she didn't have to be the best looking one on the squad. It wasn't a requirement that she be blonde. She didn't have to have size F titties. You know, it just, I don't know. Between the way that the Bella Twins held the title, between Michelle McCool and Layla, you know, being co-title holders in the last year, in the last 2 years, the women's division is just a joke right now. And I really feel like the only way to bring credibility to it would be to scrap the ones that can't wrestle, scrap the ones that, you don't use, and just bring in other talent that knows how to work in the ring. You know, like if I was WWE, I would be really kind of like looking at the TNA knockouts and saying which one of these could we bring back and repackage. I would want Mickey James back because at least she can do some moves. I would want Tara or Victoria or whatever the hell you want to call her back because at least she can wrestle a match. I just, like, to me, it just seems like the same thing repeated over and over and over again. Even this match um, between Beth Phoenix and Kelly Kelly, they've done this 3 times now. If Beth Phoenix doesn't win this match, what the fuck is the point? And I know that you guys have probably, you've heard other people that make their videos and do that sort of thing, complain about it, but let me just add one more voice to that. Like, why are we doing this? What is the bigger picture? What are we trying to accomplish? At what point are we going to have a WrestleMania match between the women's division that people are actually going to care about? And I think that's the bigger picture that we need to look at. Like, who's going to be in it? Is Karma going to come back? Is that what we're going to try to do? Because I don't think that's going to be enough time for her to have her kid and then, be in ring shape. So realistically, you're going to have to wait, another year beyond this one to try that out. So who's going to be your women's division savior? Are Natalya and Beth Phoenix going to split up so at least you have 2 people in the ring that can do moves? I don't know. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to hate on women. I'm not trying to say that women don't have talent being wrestlers because honestly they do. But what I have a problem with is when you take something and give it a title, like take the women's division and give it a title, and then you make a complete mockery out of it. Like, why does Kelly Kelly have this fucking strap on her? At what point did she ever bring prestige to this title? I would have rather seen it on Eve and keep her champion for 6 months to 9 months. Give somebody a lasting title reign, just whatever.